I have always been a little reluctant to share my studio space down in the basement with you because I'm a bit embarrassed by the messiness of it, which I know is silly because the studio is supposed to be messy. But I recently did a deep clean and I took everything out of the shelves and the drawers and I labeled everything with tape. And I was really proud of it for the, 5 days that it lasted like that. So here's a sneak peek. I organized the brushes in genus species, but that never stays like that. And I just tried to put like things with like things and use tape for labeling drawers and shelves. And it actually has really helped because when I try to find something now, I actually, instead of opening all the drawers, I just look at the tape, which is really nice. One of the things I think that makes it look really messy down there is typically the floor because it has so much paint mess on it. I bought these interlocking foam tiles that act as a kind of pad and it also protects the floor underneath. So they're really nice and they create a little bit of a bounce so you can spend a long time down there without your back aching too much or your feet hurting. So those are nice, but I think those, it would be nice to maybe refresh those out every couple years. So that studio space is nice, even though it takes up a little bit of space that I could be using for painting or art supplies. It's just nice to have a place where I can go that's not too far away, where I can sit down on the couch and not worry about getting paint on it and look at my artwork. Sometimes I'll just prop it up on the fireplace there. I also like to sit at that couch and sketch or look at Pinterest and Instagram. So Joann Fabric was having an amazing sale. And if you don't know what Joann Fabric is, they're out here on the West Coast. I'm not sure where else they are in the States, but if you're not from the States, they're mostly a sewing like fabric store. The art aisle is really small and occasionally they have these amazing sales. And I went in there and it was like 77% off these really nice canvases. So I bought a bunch of those and I've been painting on those and I wanted to share some of those with you. This is like, I think they call it gallery depth. And you can kind of tell by the way they sound. They have that really tight drum sound. This is a piece that I've been working on and I think it's done. This one is, I think, 20 inches by 20 inches, and then I bought a bigger one. I'm not really sure which way it goes. Maybe like this, maybe. And, oh, I guess it goes like this because I already put a wire in it. I think because I thought it was done, and then I just kept working on it, but I can always change that out. 24 by 24 inches, I think. I also bought some of the canvases. They're like this big and I got them for steel. And here's another piece that I've been working on, which isn't, it kind of veers from my style a bit. But as you can see here, I use some collage in it, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about, how I got this collage. When I was growing up, my mother had a bunch of really cool pieces of art hanging in her house. They were rubbings, and they were done in the 70s. They were from these old churches, and you go inside and they have these, I think they're called brass rubbings, but you take a gold or a silver crayon, maybe white, and you use black paper typically. And inside some of these old churches, they have these 3D decorative plaques or stones that have a raised surface with patterns and usually pictures of saints. And so you will take the black paper, tape it to the plaque, and then you rub a crayon over it, and it produces these rubbings. I've always really liked utility signage and manhole covers. Sometimes you'll see some really interesting designs and patterns and words and on manhole covers. And so I got this idea that I was going to do my own rubbings. And so it was a little bit of trial and error. And I went out here in my neighborhood, and I just walked around and I tried a couple of things. And I was trying chalks, I was trying oil crayons and wax crayons and all kinds of charcoal, and really only one or two things worked. My parents just recently came out and visited, but I also had asked her about those rubbings that she did, and she brought me this crayon, which is from the 70s, and I was amazed that she still had it. She also brought me some handmade chalks, and I've been experimenting with some oil pastels as well, and I'll show you those in a minute. So these are some of the rubbings that I did. These ones I did downtown. And you know, I do love to incorporate collage into my pieces. This one, I used a really delicate piece of deli paper. I see through. So this book is really beautiful. It's got really thick paper. I got it at the art store, and I think it's a Hanamul because of this rooster on it. I love words in my paintings, but I like big words. I don't like little tiny letters. I like big chunky letters. I tried all kinds of papers, and I found the best kind of paper is this. Either newsprint or deli paper, because deli paper, sorry, I had to run down and get it. And the reason that the newsprint and the deli paper work is because it's so thin. And when I tried charcoal, it just kind of got smeary, and I even brought the Dig Off Fixative with me, but I tried chalks, I tried all kinds of oil pastels. This is an example of what some of the failed ones that I did, and these were done with chunk charcoal on this really thick mixed media paper. And it did work out to a certain extent, but it wasn't the effect that I wanted. Here again is the charcoal. It's very messy, and I did bring my Dig Off Fixative with me outside. The only thing that worked were these beeswax crayons, and because it was hot outside and the metal plates that I was rubbing onto were also hot, it allowed these wax crayons to melt a little bit. So when I was rubbing onto the metal through the paper, it was sort of melting the wax crayons onto it. This color, this teal color, for some reason always turned out the best. This one was from a side of a building. In certain cities, you'll see this decorative ironwork on the sidewalk underneath the trees. So I was just finding some fun textures there. Cool spiral pattern I found. I'm sure you recognize this. This is from a manhole cover. And this is deli paper, so it's see-through, which is nice. And here's some fun patterns that I picked up. This is a little bit newer font. You can tell this font's a little bit older. And then this is a little newer, and I think this is just really interesting textures. Here, I mixed a couple of colors. You can tell the teal crayon melted a lot better. I think I used acrylic medium or a glue stick. Sometimes I'll just use that. And I stuck it on here. Let me show you what some of these things look like that I have been playing with. Let's just use this Bienfang or Bienfang, I don't know how you pronounce that, German word. So the wax crayons, these pretty much look like crayons when you use them. But the trick is, if you get them hot, a friend of mine suggested this and it worked really well. And you can make some really interesting effects. And that's really nice because it leaves this texture. But it's the same idea when you're out on the street and you want it to be warm so that the crayons melt in the sun. Now, some of the other things that I have been playing with are these handmade chalks. And these handmade chalks I got at the art store. They're Jack Richardson. These are beautiful. They're just really juicy. And I'm just going to make a few marks on here so you can get the idea of what they're like. And then this is the terracotta colored one that I've been using. It's like, oops, it's like almost a nub now. And they do smear as they're supposed to, so as usual, I've got my Degas fixative that I use with everything. These are the ones that my mom brought me when she was visiting. She picked out 4 colors for me, and I think this one, this is called eggplant, and I think it's a really popular color. Looks almost black. And these are really nice. You don't want to drop these. They're just really chalky. There's a kind of a grass color. And then I guess I like this color because I asked her for this color and it looks a lot like the one that I have already. It's a little greener. But these are so beautiful. And you can smear them. You can mix them for nice effects. Oh, it looks really cool over that wax. I like that. So I'm going to put those back. Don't drop these or they'll be smashed into a million pieces. And I'm going to wash my hands and then come back and show you some of the oil pastels that I picked up. These are 72 colors, and I'm really interested in chalks and crayons right now, and these are oil pastels. One of the things I like about oil pastels is that they resist water, so when I combine them with my acrylic paints, they kind of resist it and they look really neat underneath them. So anyway, it looks like this box comes with a nice sheet where you can try out the colors in Chinese. These were not very expensive, which was nice for oil pastels, because oil pastels are usually really expensive, but these are, look at all those yummy colors. I'm really excited to try this. Let's try this color that I really like. They're really, they're really a little messy. Let me see. Oh yeah. Oh, those are nice. Oh yeah, they smear really nice too. I like that. I wonder. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I always like to cut into something too with a pen or pencil or a sharp object. So I don't know. Oh, it says the color in English, so I guess that's pine green. Yeah, these are fun. See, this is what I would do with it. I would totally just mess it up. Oh yeah, those are cool. You know, I might just start making some art here. I don't know, I'm gonna add a little pencil line to this. I really like I like a terracotta or like a burnt sienna color, and this is Venetian red. Blue green. These smear really nicely. I like this because you can keep that crayon, that rough crayon look, or smooth, get a smooth appearance. And maybe I can add some of this collage that I made from the I'm just spreading some of that the medium on top as well, and you can take these, just a card or some plastic flat thing, just to get all the bubbles out, because I don't like the bubbles in there. I think they look like mistakes, but I know some people don't mind them. See, I'm just kind of making art from what I have sitting around me here. Maybe we can add some of these chalks as well and see how that works. Let's use some of that eggplant. These are really crumbly. This is really fun. I'm really enjoying combining the oil with the chalk. It's not resisting. Oh yeah, it does resist it a little bit. And now I'm putting the oil on top of the chalk, which is a really interesting effect. Oh, that's so delicious. Now I just want some white paint, but I don't have my paints up here. I came unprepared. See, I do have some white chalk here, which could be nice because it can kind of hide it. This is like a off-white chalk. Oh yeah, you can really see the eggplant purple now as I layer the white chalk on top of that. Cold green. I'm not sure why I call it green. Let's see. It feels like gray to me, but it may be a green gray. Oh wow, beautiful. Now let me spray some fixative on this so it doesn't smear too much. These are my in progress, so I keep these in a basket, and these are ones that are not finished, and there's a ton of pieces in here, as you can see. Just a ton. Let me find a piece that I'm working on. How about this one? And I keep a lot of my collage pieces in this aluminum for cooking, but there's a lot of pieces in here that I use for collage. These are some of the rubbings that I did. It's cut through the text. Just bisect it. Sometimes that's just much more interesting than having the whole sentence there or the whole word. You can use this negative like this, or you can, you know, incorporate it into there. I'm just gonna kind of bisect the word here a little bit. And this is great because you can see through it. And if I were to put it there, you can see some of the marks that I made underneath. But that could be kind of interesting. Let me try that. A part of this on here. And the beeswax crayons, they do not run. These oil pastels pretty much do what I would want white paint to do, which is kind of nice, which is sort of cover up some of this pigment. I can imagine I would probably go through the white ones quite a bit, these white oil pastels, because they're not like wimpy oil. I've got some hot pink in there. That's nice. I'm not going to be shy about using this. And, oh yeah, you know what? I put a light oil pastel on top of the dark chalk, and then I can scrape away and it just leaves this really cool effect. And I can probably do a lot more with this if I bring in some acrylic paint. But even without it, it's just a really great example of how you can play with oil pastels and chalks together, especially these handmade chalks, which I'm getting into, although they're really expensive. So I'm very careful at what colors I pick, and I'll probably have my favorites. And I could go in and edit this a little more, but I think it's not bad for just messing around for a couple minutes.